Ever had that moment where you just knew your friend was lying, even though their story was perfect? Or felt someone's pain so deeply you couldn't tell if it was yours or theirs? Maybe you've cut someone out of your life so completely that it's like they never existed, and you didn't lose a wink of sleep over it? Yeah, I thought so. Look, if these moments sound familiar, you're probably part of the rarest personality club on the planet. You're an INFJ. And here's the wild part. You're not losing your mind. These bizarre experiences, they're not just happening to you. Every single INFJ on Earth deals with this stuff, and today we're pulling back the curtain on the strangest, most unexplainable things that come with being this personality type. Fair warning, number 7 is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. 1. The permanent exile, when someone becomes a ghost to you. Let's start with something that's basically become an INFJ trademark, and honestly, it freaks people out. We're talking about the moment when someone goes from being in your life to being completely erased from your existence. And I mean erased, not blocked, not avoided, erased. Here's what makes this so bizarre. INFJs are the people who'll forgive you for things that would make other folks write you off instantly. They'll understand your side of the story, give you chance after chance, and genuinely want to help you grow. They're basically walking second chance machines. But then something shifts. It's not explosive. There's no big dramatic confrontation. It's more like a light switch. 1 second it's on, the next it's off, and there's no in between. What's really trippy about this whole thing is that the person being cut off usually has no clue it's coming. They're going about their day thinking everything's fine, and suddenly the INFJ has vanished. Messages go unanswered. Calls don't get returned. That person might as well have ceased to exist in the INFJ's universe. And here's the kicker. This isn't impulsive. The INFJ has been running this relationship through their mental processor for months, maybe years. They've analyzed every angle, given you every opportunity to change, and made peace with their decision long before you even noticed something was wrong. Most personality types will give you warning signs. They'll get angry, start arguments, or slowly drift away. But INFJs? They'll smile at you on Tuesday and by Friday you're a stranger. No anger, no hatred, just nothing. It's like their emotional connection to you got surgically removed. And the weirdest part? They don't sit around feeling guilty about it. Once an INFJ has decided you're out, you stay out. The emotional file gets closed, archived, and locked away forever. 2. The script in your head, living conversations before they happen. Alright, buckle up because this one's genuinely unsettling. INFJs don't just predict conversations. They live them before they happen. We're talking about knowing exactly what someone's going to say, how they'll say it, what excuse they'll use, and how the whole thing will end. And when the actual conversation happens, it's like watching a movie you've already seen 10 times. Picture this. You're an INFJ and you need to confront your roommate about something. But before you even open your mouth, you've already experienced this conversation in 6 different versions. You know they'll start defensive, throw in some deflection, probably bring up that time you forgot to do the dishes 3 weeks ago, and then either apologize half-heartedly or get angry and leave. So when you finally have the actual talk and it unfolds exactly like your mental rehearsal, you're sitting there thinking, yep, called it. This isn't some mystical fortune-telling ability. It's pattern recognition cranked up to 11. INFJs are constantly recording human behavior, the tiny facial tics, the specific word choices, the defensive body language, the tone shifts. They're building these incredibly detailed profiles of how people operate. So when a situation comes up, their brain just runs the simulation based on all that data and spits out a prediction. And it's almost always accurate. But here's where it gets really strange. This ability can make INFJs feel disconnected from their own life. Why have a conversation when you already know how it's going to end? Why ask someone a question when you already know their answer? It's like being forced to watch reruns of a show you've memorized. This makes INFJs seem distant or disengaged sometimes, but it's not that they don't care. They're just exhausted from living everything twice. Once in their head and once in reality. 3. The human mood ring, catching feelings that aren't yours. Here's something that makes being an INFJ feel like having a superpower you never asked for. They don't just sense other people's emotions. They absorb them. Completely. Automatically. Whether they want to or not. It's like their nervous system is hardwired to pick up everyone else's emotional frequency. Imagine walking into your favorite bookstore feeling totally chill and content. Within 5 minutes, you're suddenly anxious and overwhelmed. You scan the store, confused about where this feeling came from, and then you spot someone in the corner having what looks like a panic attack. That's not your anxiety you're feeling, it's theirs. But your body can't tell the difference. You've essentially become an emotional antenna, receiving signals from everyone in your radius. This gets absolutely wild in group settings. An INFJ can walk into a family dinner where everyone's laughing and smiling, but underneath they're picking up the tension between their parents, their sister's hidden sadness, their brother's frustration, and their grandma's loneliness. They'll leave that dinner feeling like they got hit by an emotional truck, having processed not just their own experience but everyone else's too. And the crazy part? Most people at that dinner have no idea any of that was happening. What makes this phenomenon truly bizarre is that INFJs often can't separate their own emotions from the ones they've absorbed. They might spend an entire afternoon feeling inexplicably angry or sad, only to realize hours later that they were sitting next to someone who was going through something heavy. It's like being a computer that can't tell which programs it opened versus which ones other people installed. This is exactly why INFJs need to disappear for hours or days at a time. They're not being antisocial, they're literally detoxing from everyone else's emotional baggage. Without that reset time, they'd be carrying around the emotional weight of every person they've encountered, and that's not sustainable. 4. The timeline walker, seeing endings before the beginning. Okay, this one sounds absolutely insane, but every INFJ knows what I'm talking about. They have this eerie ability to see how things are going to play out long term. Not in a vague, I have a bad feeling way, more like watching the entire movie while everyone else is still looking at the poster. An INFJ meets their friend's new boyfriend and within one conversation, they can see the relationship's expiration date. Not because they're pessimistic or judgmental, but because they've picked up on patterns that scream, this isn't sustainable. 6 months later, when the inevitable breakup happens, everyone's shocked except the INFJ, who's been watching this train wreck in slow motion since day one. Here's what makes this really weird. INFJs see these outcomes so clearly that they'll often try to warn people. And then they have to watch in frustration as nobody listens and everything unfolds exactly as predicted. It's like being stuck in a time loop where you're the only one who remembers what's coming. People think you're being negative or overthinking, but you're just reading the signs that everyone else is blind to. This ability comes from how INFJ brains process information. While most people see individual events as separate moments, INFJs see chains of cause and effect stretching into the future. They notice the hairline crack in the foundation that everyone steps over, and they know exactly when the whole building is going to collapse. They see the small resentment that's going to become a massive fight. They spot the incompatibility that's going to end a friendship. The downside? INFJs can become so focused on future outcomes that they forget to actually experience the present moment. They're so busy predicting what's going to happen that they miss what's happening right now. Plus, constantly seeing negative outcomes before they happen can make life feel exhausting and inevitable. 5. The personality shapeshifter, being everyone and no one. Here's a phenomenon that makes INFJs incredible at connecting with people but leaves them feeling like they don't have a solid identity. They automatically mirror whoever they're with. And we're not talking about conscious people-pleasing here. This is deeper, more automatic, and honestly kind of weird. Watch an INFJ throughout a single day and it's like watching different people inhabit the same body. With their creative friend, they're suddenly more expressive and imaginative. With their logical coworker, they become more analytical and structured. With their adventurous sibling, they're spontaneous and bold. These aren't masks or fake personas. They're all genuinely the INFJ. But it's like they're made up of dozens of different versions that come out depending on the audience. What's truly bizarre is that this happens unconsciously. The INFJ isn't sitting there thinking, okay, I'm with Sarah now, so I need to be more upbeat. It just happens automatically, like their brain is constantly adjusting to match the emotional frequency of whoever they're interacting with. It's their way of creating harmony and deep connection. They instinctively become what the other person needs. But here's where it gets sad and kind of terrifying. After years of being a shapeshifter, many INFJs hit a point where they look in the mirror and think, who the hell am I? They've spent so much energy becoming what everyone else needs that they've lost touch with their core self. They can tell you exactly who they are with their mom, their boss, their best friend, and their partner. But who are they when no one's watching? That question can send an INFJ into an existential crisis. The shapeshifting also creates a weird paradox. INFJs can fit into almost any social group and people generally like them, but they never truly feel like they belong anywhere. They're the ultimate outsider-insider, accepted everywhere but at home nowhere. It's like being fluent in every language but having no native tongue to return to. 6. The all-in or check-out philosophy, why surface level feels like dying. Small talk isn't just boring for INFJs, it's physically painful. We're not exaggerating. Ask an INFJ to make weather chit-chat for 10 minutes and watch them slowly lose the will to live. This isn't about being pretentious or thinking they're too deep for normal conversation. Their brain literally cannot engage with surface-level anything without feeling like it's suffocating. An INFJ can't just casually enjoy a TV show. They need to dissect the symbolism, understand the character arcs, and discuss what it reveals about human nature. They can't just listen to a song. They need to know the story behind it, analyze the lyrics, and connect it to their own emotional experience. They can't maintain superficial friendships where you only talk about weekend plans and funny memes. If the connection doesn't go deep, it doesn't count. This creates absolutely bizarre social situations. Everyone else at the party is having a great time chatting about the latest viral TikTok or celebrity drama, and the INFJ is standing there feeling like they're slowly dying inside. It's not snobbery. They genuinely cannot make their brain care about surface-level topics. It's like trying to force yourself to be interested in watching paint dry. The interest just isn't there no matter how hard you try. What's really weird is that INFJs can be surrounded by people and still feel crushingly lonely. If the connections lack depth, they're meaningless. An INFJ would rather have one 3-hour conversation about life, meaning, and human nature than attend 50 social events full of small talk. They'd rather have 2 friends who know their soul than 20 acquaintances who know their name. This all-or-nothing approach infects everything they do. INFJs don't casually pick up hobbies. They become obsessed. They don't have passing interests. They have consuming passions. They don't want surface-level knowledge about many things. They want to understand a few things so completely that they can see every angle and dimension. The weird phenomenon here is that this intensity often pushes people away. Not everyone wants to have deep philosophical discussions at 11 p.m. Sometimes people just want to relax and talk about nothing. But for INFJs, that feels almost impossible. Their brain is hardwired to search for meaning, dig deeper, and find substance in everything. 7. The unexplainable download, when information just appears in your head. Okay, real talk. This is the phenomenon that makes INFJs wonder if they're secretly psychic. They'll just know things with absolute certainty, and they have zero logical explanation for how that knowledge got into their brain. It's like the universe is sending them files directly. An INFJ meets someone new at work and immediately knows, not suspects, knows that this person can't be trusted. They haven't done anything suspicious. They've been perfectly friendly. But the INFJ has this unshakable feeling. Fast forward 6 months and that person gets caught stealing or lying and everyone's stunned. Except the INFJ who's thinking, yeah, I saw that coming from day one. Or an INFJ will get this urgent feeling that they need to call their friend right now. There's no logical reason. They just talked yesterday. But the feeling is so strong they make the call, and their friend answers in tears, desperately needing someone to talk to. How did the INFJ know? They didn't. They just knew. This phenomenon is so common among INFJs that most of them have just accepted it as normal background noise in their lives. They've learned to trust these random downloads because they've been proven right too many times to ignore. The problem? Try explaining this to literally anyone else. How did you know? They ask. The INFJ can only shrug awkwardly and say, I don't know, I just did. What makes this really trippy is that these insights arrive fully formed. There's no process of thinking through possibilities and arriving at a conclusion. It's more like their subconscious has been running calculations in the background, processing a million tiny details they didn't consciously notice, and then it just drops the answer into their conscious mind like a completed homework assignment. Scientists would call this thin slicing or pattern recognition, but to INFJs experiencing it, it feels borderline supernatural. And here's the painful part. When INFJs ignore these gut feelings, they almost always regret it. That job they had a bad feeling about but took anyway? Turned out to be toxic. That person they didn't trust but gave a chance anyway? Betrayed them. Their intuition is almost always right, which makes ignoring it feel even worse. 8. The phantom effect, existing without being seen. Here's something that'll blow your mind. INFJs have this strange ability to be physically present in a space while being completely unnoticed by everyone there. Not ignored, but literally unseen, like they're operating on a different frequency than everyone else. An INFJ can show up to a party, observe everything, pick up on all the drama and subtle social dynamics, and leave without most people even registering they were there. It's like they're wearing some kind of perception filter that makes them slide out of people's awareness. They're not hiding in corners or trying to be invisible, it just happens. What makes this extra strange is that it's usually unintentional. INFJs aren't consciously trying to disappear. They naturally slip into observer mode without meaning to. They position themselves on the edges of conversations, contributing just enough to be polite but not enough to draw focus. They become part of the background scenery in people's memories. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. When an INFJ decides they want to be seen, They can flip a switch and suddenly command the entire room's attention. It's like they have two modes: invisible ghost or magnetic presence. There's no middle ground. When they're on, they're charismatic, engaging, and unforgettable. When they're off, they might as well be furniture. This dramatic contrast confuses the hell out of people who only know the INFJ in one setting. The phantom effect extends beyond physical spaces too. An INFJ can be part of a group chat for 6 months and nobody notices when they go silent for 2 weeks. They can slip out of a party early and nobody asks where they went until days later. They exist in people's peripheral vision but rarely in the center spotlight. This can be simultaneously freeing and devastating. On one hand, it gives INFJs the space to observe without pressure. On the other hand, it makes them feel insignificant, like they could vanish completely and nobody would notice or care. Many INFJs wrestle with feeling invisible and wondering if they actually matter to anyone. 9. The prison of potential, when good enough feels like failure. INFJs have this absolutely maddening relationship with perfectionism that creates a weird cycle of paralysis. They've got incredible visions in their heads: books they want to write, projects they want to launch, art they want to create. But here's the catch: if they can't execute it perfectly, they often won't start at all. This isn't your standard "I'm a perfectionist" behavior where someone works really hard and nitpicks the results. This is total paralysis, where the INFJ won't even begin because they can already see the gap between their perfect vision and what reality will produce. They have this crystal clear image of the ideal outcome, and they know that what they actually create won't match it, so they convince themselves there's no point in trying. What makes this truly bizarre is that INFJs are usually ridiculously talented people. They have the skills, intelligence, and creativity to accomplish incredible things. But they'll abandon ideas before they start, talk themselves out of opportunities, and hide their talents because they're convinced that anything less than perfect is essentially garbage. This creates a weird disconnect. Other people see the INFJ's potential and wonder why they're not doing more. Meanwhile, the INFJ is trapped in their own head, seeing only the massive chasm between their ideal vision and what they can realistically create. It's like having a Ferrari in your garage but never driving it because you're afraid you won't win every race. The perfectionism bleeds into everything. An INFJ will spend 45 minutes crafting a single text message, rewriting it over and over to nail the exact right tone. They'll agonize over decisions that other people make in 30 seconds. They'll replay conversations for days, dissecting everything they said and torturing themselves over how they could have phrased things better. Here's the really weird part: INFJs hold themselves to standards they'd never dream of applying to anyone else. They're incredibly forgiving when other people mess up, but absolutely brutal on themselves. They'll see someone else's imperfect attempt and admire their courage, but when it comes to their own work, anything less than flawless feels like complete failure. 10. The unpaid therapist syndrome, carrying everyone's baggage. Every INFJ knows this one intimately: they're a magnet for people's problems. Complete strangers will unload their deepest secrets. New coworkers will confide their personal drama within days. Friends will treat them like an on-call therapist. It's like they're broadcasting some invisible signal that says "safe space," and everyone can pick it up except them. An INFJ can literally be minding their own business in a coffee shop when someone sits down next to them and starts sharing their entire life story. Or they show up to a casual get-together and end up in a corner having an intense heart-to-heart with someone going through a crisis. Or they start a new job and within a week, people are coming to them with problems they haven't told anyone else. It happens everywhere, constantly, without the INFJ doing anything to invite it. What's really strange is the level of trust people instantly place in INFJs. People will share things with them that they haven't told their closest friends or family. Heavy, traumatic, deeply personal stuff. And the INFJ, despite being extremely private themselves, becomes the keeper of everyone else's secrets and pain. Here's the thing that makes this a curse rather than just a skill: INFJs are actually really good at this role. They're naturally empathetic, non-judgmental, and they give thoughtful advice. But it's absolutely exhausting. Imagine being the emotional dumping ground for every person in your life. Imagine carrying other people's trauma and pain on top of your own. That's daily life for most INFJs. The curse part hits when INFJs realize these relationships are mostly one-way streets. Everyone comes to them when they're struggling, but when the INFJ needs support, those same people often disappear. It's like everyone sees them as this strong, wise figure who has everything figured out, so they don't think to check if the INFJ needs help too. This creates a lonely paradox where the INFJ is deeply connected to everyone else's struggles but completely alone with their own. They're the person everyone leans on, but they have no shoulder to lean on themselves. And because INFJs hate burdening others, they usually suffer silently, which just reinforces the cycle of everyone seeing them as the helper, never the one who needs help. Conclusion. So there you have it, 13 deeply weird phenomena that basically every INFJ has experienced at some point. From permanently exiling people from their lives to absorbing emotions like a sponge, from living conversations before they happen to becoming invisible in crowded rooms, being an INFJ is a unique and often bewildering ride. If you're an INFJ watching this right now, hopefully you feel a little less alone knowing these strange experiences are shared by people like you all over the world. You're not broken, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not the only one. These phenomena that feel so isolating and bizarre are actually the invisible threads connecting INFJs everywhere. You're part of a tribe, even if that tribe is scattered and mostly exists in solitude. And if you're not an INFJ but you know one, maybe this video just helped you understand them a bit better. When they suddenly need space, it's not about you. When they mysteriously know things they shouldn't know, trust their intuition. They're usually right. When they cut someone off completely, it wasn't impulsive. They thought about it for months before acting. INFJs are complex, intense, deeply feeling people who experience reality in a fundamentally different way than most. The reality is, being an INFJ comes with genuine superpowers, profound empathy, powerful intuition, creative vision, and the ability to understand people on a level that borders on mind reading. But it also comes with real struggles, the emotional exhaustion, the relentless overthinking, the feeling of never truly belonging anywhere, the weight of caring so deeply about absolutely everything. At the end of the day, these weird phenomena aren't bugs in the system. They're features. They're what makes INFJs who they are. They're the observers, the truth seers, the depth seekers, the pattern recognizers. They're the people who notice what everyone else misses and feel what everyone else avoids. And yeah, it can be exhausting and lonely and overwhelming. But it's also beautiful and meaningful and important in ways that are hard to put into words. So to every INFJ out there, embrace your weirdness. Your ability to see beneath surfaces, to predict patterns, to feel deeply, and to seek meaning in everything isn't a character flaw or a burden to fix. It's your gift to the world. Sure, it comes with uncomfortable side effects, but it also allows you to experience life in a rich, profound way that most people never access. And listen, just because these phenomena are common among INFJs doesn't mean you have to deal with them alone. Understanding yourself, setting firm boundaries, and finding your people, whether that's other INFJs or folks who genuinely appreciate your unique way of being, can transform your entire experience. You're not too much, you're not too sensitive, and you're not too intense. You're exactly who you're meant to be, operating exactly how you're designed to operate. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. If you recognized yourself in these phenomena, drop a comment and tell me which one hit the hardest. And if this resonated with you or helped you feel less alone, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're going to keep exploring the fascinating ways different personality types experience this wild thing called life. Until next time, and INFJs, seriously, go get that alone time you've been desperately needing.